This week's episode is really special for me. I had the absolute honour and pleasure of interviewing Leonie Dawson. Leonie is an award-winning entrepreneur. She's created over $11 million working just 10 hours a week. But for me, it's not just that she blazes a trail for those of us who wish to work fewer hours whilst earning loads of money and making our impact on the world. A lot of entrepreneurs dream of that. But more importantly, for me, she blazes a trail by being herself. And that is where I learn the most from her. I hope that you will too. So sit back and enjoy this episode, or whether you're walking, wherever you are in the world, it's lovely to have you here. Please be warned that Leonie does like to swear, so maybe put some headphones on if you've got kids or sensitive dogs around. Enjoy. Welcome to the Overwhelm is Optional podcast, where we cut through the fog of overwhelm so you can see all the ways to start creating a life that works for you.
There's so much I could say about Leonie, but I'm going to shut up because I want her to talk, because when she talks, magical stuff happens. And yeah, so we're just going to get straight on with it. Otherwise, I'm just going to witter about my excitement. Leonie, welcome. Good morning. And the question I always like to start with, tell me about your adventures in Overwhelm.
Oh, haven't I had some adventures? Well, first and foremost, Heidi, you're freaking adorable. Secondly, I am my heritage is English and Danish, but every time, I feel like when I talk to English people, I'm like, it's my humors, especially since 90% of the television that we watch is UK TV. Like, I am such a massive fan of UK TV. We just had Halloween, and I did a Halloween Taskmaster challenges for my kids, because that's the level of British TV I am into. So those are the important things I need to discuss. Now, in terms of Overwhelm, fucking constant. Well, so first and foremost, I'm diagnosed with autism and ADHD, which I feel like the signature essence of both of those is overwhelm. Yeah. We just our brains take in a lot of information, and there's the whole part where we have to process it and organize it, and it's challenging. So there's been a lot of times where I just feel completely crippled by overwhelm, and I still have really poor time management skills. My dad still calls me last minute Leonie, because if there's anything that needs doing before a deadline, it is absolutely going to happen in the last 24 hours before that deadline. It doesn't matter if I've got 9 months to prepare. It's very deadline orientated. And I'm really grateful I've got my husband to kind of coach me through stuff as well, because I do get overwhelmed quite regularly. And I sit him down and I say, I need some help. I'm really overwhelmed. And he says, right, okay, let's simplify things. Let's reduce what you think you need to get done. And usually the process is so simple, it's stupid, but I always need to write a really big list of every single thing I think I need to get done.
That brain dump, get it out of your brain.
Yeah, big time. And then writing, and then starting to cross off the things that actually don't need to get done, the things that are just completely optional. And during mission overwhelm, I need to not have those on my plate. And then really clarifying what my priorities are and what I need to get done first. That really helps to simplify the process. And my husband's really great at just going, okay, you actually can't do all of those things. So let's actually have a realistic perspective.
And this is from somebody who's made 11 million. Is it US dollars or Australian dollars? Who cares?
I think Australian.
Of money on 10 hours a week. Because me, you took Tim Ferriss's book, 4 Hour work with. You took it seriously. Like you were
I
like,
did.
yeah, so did I. You are blazing my trail. Like other people go, yeah, but he doesn't really mean it. I'm like, no. If Tim Ferriss says 4, I'm like, yes. And you do it. I'm behind you going, right. So that's my aim is like, but I'm still learning. Whereas well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you're like ridiculously successful on 10 hours a week. And yet when I ask you about your adventures in Overwhelm, you sound like the rest of us. And I love that. I love it. Because the thing is with my listeners, they think what I'm saying is impossible. They think it's just me. Like I've got some sort of Zen-like calm and magical powers. And when I say, I'm building a business around me, so it works, my life works for me, which is what you have seriously blazed a trail for the rest of us, they kind of go, yeah, but I can't do that. And so that's what I teach. And so I love hearing about how you're still doing that. You're still doing 10 hours, right? Or sometimes less, because you're like, no, what is it you've got on the wall in front of you? Something like, what if you only had 2 hours or something outrageous?
Yeah, I've just got a little note that says, if I've only got 2 hours, because like life happens, like you get sick or the kids need you or the kids get sick or like you're just really burnt out or life got very busy. So sometimes you can't like 10 hours is a fucking dream.
But people don't believe us when we say this. So how are you not only dealing with the overwhelm really effectively, but you're still like making loads of money and raising a family and not going insane, like and you make tons of art and do like stuff that works for you, right? So what's going on there? Because that sounds impossible.
Yeah, no, like when you say it, I'm like, oh, that does sound a bit iffy, doesn't it? I don't know. How did I do it? Well, I think it's just been step by step. I didn't set out to create $11 million. I didn't, but I knew that I really wanted a business that would enable me to be present with my family. Like I wasn't pregnant yet or anything, but I really wanted a business that would enable me to not work in the public service. It would enable my husband to be able to be a stay-at-home dad with us. And so I needed to make bank, like I needed cash. And it couldn't happen in full-time hours. I've just never had the luxury to work full-time hours. Before I had kids, I was always working in the public service, the Australian government. And then I didn't quit until I had my first baby. And babies are like a lot. They take like a lot of time, especially when you score the lottery of getting the baby that doesn't sleep for 2.5 years.
No, me too.
Yay, look at us, 2 lottery winners on one call. How?
And vomiting for thousands of other women. I did that too.
Oh, yay, hyperemesis gravidarum. Wasn't that a special experience?
Twice. So the first time people keep telling you, yeah, you'll stop vomiting at 12 weeks. You'll definitely stop by 16, and then they give up. And then like you're vomiting in labour. And then the next time you have a baby, they go, nope, never happens twice. And then when it happened the second time, I just wrote off the year.
Yep. Yeah, of course you do. You just like
looked at the calendar and went, well, that's all vomit. So
yeah, that's horrific. It's so shit having something like hyperemesis gravidarum because especially the first time around, everyone's just saying, oh, you just get sick like that, morning sickness, isn't it awful? And you're like,
you tried having a ginger biscuit in the morning.
And you just want to fucking murder someone. And so you just think you're weak and you don't understand why it's so horrific. And it's only when shit gets real bad or second time around and you discover, oh, it's actually a chronic debilitating illness called hyperemesis gravidarum that actually needs to be treated in hospital. What a terrible invention. So, life happens and sometimes it's really shitty. And you've got to have a business that's robust enough to be able to look after you and your family during that. So I'm really grateful that I've continued to refine my business so that I I was able to be in hospital. I was able to, receive care and really have a lot of time where I wasn't able to work, and the business still brought in, 7 figures a year. It's an enormous blessing. It's stupidly lucky.
Come on, you can't. It still sounds impossible. It still sounds
totally.
What most entrepreneurs do is burn themselves out.
Yeah.
Postponing what you're talking about for when they hit 6 figures or 7 figures or whatever, don't they? Most entrepreneurs are like, postpone. You outrageously, rebelliously decided, like me, from the beginning, that wasn't happening. So
yeah.
How?
Well, I didn't have the luxury. I've never had the luxury of working full-time in my business. Like, it's,
So the vomiting and the screaming baby.
Yeah, well, and like I had a job before then, and so the business needed to be crammed into little hours, to tiny little moments. Whenever anyone says, how do you do it? It's like, well, reduce your work hours and you'll very quickly know what is actually important and what's not.
Yeah.
And it's like Timothy Ferris talks about in Pareto's principle is that 20% of your actions create 80% of your results. And so you can kill off 80% of your activities and they're only going to kill off 20% of your revenue. Yeah. So the vast majority of your tasks are actually not that important and not critical. So I, purposely don't take that top 20% of my income really, because it's going to take 80% of my time. I'll take that 80%. Cheers. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm out of here. So trying to stay very clear on what brings in profit, what's actually critical, and what's just a nice to have, because most of the things in business are a nice to have and people don't realize that.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. So if you look at your task list for the next week, right? And even if I looked at my task list for the next week, there would be some tax things that need to get done. That's going to be an essential. Like that's fucking critical. Yeah. Then there's probably like 5 bits of content that need to be created on there. Now, out of all of those, there's probably only one that actually really needs to be created. The other 4 are just nice to have. So I could kill off the other 4 pieces of content. And the only critical thing I would say this week that I would need to do, even though I've got like 50 things on my to-do list, is to write a sales page and start creating a new presentation for something.
Oh, you got something new coming.
I do. Hold tight, babes. Hold tight.
Exciting.
So like everything else can either wait until I'm thoroughly bored, or it can just die. It can just die because it's actually not that important. Now, when you look at your task list, like there might be like emails that actually don't need to be sent, or there may be, a whole bunch of content that doesn't actually need to be written because it's not going to be useful, or you've just got a whole bunch of fucking nice to haves on your list. What you need to do is just instead highlight the ones that are critical, do the ones that are critical, and the rest can either wait or go fuck itself.
Have you ever crossed something off that later you've discovered was like, you shouldn't have done that? Because it sounds really courageous, doesn't it? Like, I think for a lot of people, they'd be looking at it thinking, but I don't know, I'm not sure.
Here's the thing, right? Like if something's actually mission critical, it'll pop itself up again. You know what I mean? Like if it's,
it does, doesn't it? It's magical.
Yeah.
It's like, it just suddenly goes boing straight in front of your face.
Yeah, but honestly, nothing's ever that important. Like your core business model is really important. But you need to have really good clarity around what that is and what it isn't. And you also might be going like, oh, but it's mission critical that I provide 24 access to my customers and answer every single email that comes in. No, like you can have really clear boundaries around when that stuff gets answered, where that stuff gets answered, how your clients can receive support. Like we don't answer stuff by social media DMs. We tell people you need to email in. If people want to like ask questions, like go, oh, I don't know where my book is in the forum, we've already educated people. So people comment, go, oh, you don't ask that here. You always email in. And when they email in, they find out that we only answer emails maybe like, it's within the 72-hour time limit. So I only have customer service emails answered 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we don't actually need to be just constantly responsive, and instead we can batch that work, and we can really take the time to do other important things as well. So customers aren't necessarily always right, and you can also give them a lot of good boundaries and educate them, like, this is how we help you and this is how we don't help you. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh, Leonie's customers must really fucking hate her because she's lazy about this stuff. No, we actually have customers that we have a really, really high customer retention rate. In my industry, people usually count how many months somebody has been in our business. For me, it is more years and decades. So I have people who have been buying every single thing I've ever made since 2001.
Wow.
And like as soon as I started doing shit on the internet, people started buying from me and supporting me. And I have very, very loyal customers. And I love them and they love me. And that's kind of the majority of the experience, is that once someone's in my circle, they don't tend to buy one thing from me. They keep on coming back because they know.
I did. That definitely happened to me. Definitely happened to me. And I'm just like, as soon as you said you're writing a sales page, I'm like, ooh, excited.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And actually, I personally really, really like things like if you send you an email on a Friday, obviously it's Saturday where you are, so you get a message saying, no, it's the weekend. And as soon as I get that, I don't feel pushed away. I actually feel like, yes, somebody's doing the same as me. Somebody's modeling the thing that feels good. It's like a relief, because I get people all the time who respond to emails saying, I'm so sorry I didn't respond immediately. And I'm like,
that's not the point of emails, boo.
No, exactly. It's like, and it feels almost stressful, like, because they're anxious, they might let you down. Whereas with your message for the weekend, I really like it. I find it respectful. It's almost actually like empowering, because you're obviously a super, super successful entrepreneur, and I'm like way back in my journey compared to you. And the fact that you're doing that, it means I can, like, okay, that's how I work. But seeing you do it and be even more successful, I think it's brilliant. I think it has the opposite effect, setting good boundaries, actually.
It does. It just makes for a much healthier experience. And then it means that our customers are really, healthy, respectful, kind people to work with because they respect boundaries. Like there's very few times we have anyone arc up about my boundaries or whatever. And if they do, it's really like clear that they're not the right fit for the business.
Yeah.
Because I also have boundaries in all of my courses. And that's going to really piss them off. So people who don't understand boundaries or think it's not okay for people to have boundaries, they're just not the right fit for us. And that's really fine. Just head off and go find a martyr to provide for your endless needs.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got it sounds to me like it's really clear priorities and really strong boundaries.
Yep.
Which are almost invisible things because they're more principles and values, aren't they? Than, how people are always like, oh, well, you must have really good funnels or really good
Oh, yeah.
structures and things like that. Whereas what you're saying is, no, it's deeper. It feels like a more personal, this is
Yeah,
me.
you're right.
This is me. This is how I'm doing things with love.
Yeah.
This is how I'm doing things. And I really
Yeah,
like
it's true. I have a really clear understanding of like what's going to really tire me out and burn me out and what's going to be a really easy fit. So for me, I don't do much travel. I don't do any travel really. I don't go to conferences. I don't live speak on stage at events or things like that. I can, and I have experienced it, and I'm fucking great at it. However, it's an enormous energy cost for me, and it's an enormous energy cost for my family. So, like, the answer is just no. Just answers no. So I was talking to my friend Tina Tower yesterday, who's just amazing, and she's running a conference in Uluru, and she's like, "Yeah, looking for a speaker for this Uluru event I'm doing." I'd asked Leonie, but I already know the answer. And I'm like, correct. Like, I'm slightly tempted by the fact it's Uluru, which is my hands down the most holy place in the world.
Yeah.
But not enough to actually leave my house. Sorry, Tina.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone else.
Not even for somebody who thinks that amazing and for such an amazing place. Even that.
Yeah. No, but not really, because no.
No, that's it. No, I like that though. No.
But I have to think, it's like I've got to do energy accounting in my head, right? And so I'll be away for a few days. But as somebody who has autism, what it means is every night that I'm out there, I will be in autistic shutdown. I will become too overstimulated because there's too many people, and I want to engage with them. I love people. I love connecting. However, it is a lot for my senses. So I'll be in shutdown. It will be difficult for me to sleep. It feels like fire in my body when I get overstimulated. It hurts. My brain feels like the nerve endings are sizzling. And it's difficult to sleep. And it compounds. Like if it's a multi-day event, it continues to compound to the point where at some point I lose the capacity to speak. I become, just a fucking shell of a human. Nobody from the outside will see this. It's only me and my little family that will see this, because I will try very hard to mask all the symptoms I'm having. And then by the time I come back home, travel is going to add more into that sensory stuff, especially in the time of COVID. Yeah. So by the time I get home, I will be an absolute fucking wreck. I know this. I absolutely know this. And it will take me 2 weeks to a month for me to recover and get back to myself. So when somebody says, like, would you like to do an event? What they're saying to me is, would you like to be in excruciating pain for at least a week? And like with that healing process.
That's really interesting. But what I like about how you've described, I love that you called it energy accounting. I think that's a really useful way of thinking about it, because I think one of the things that people listening to this podcast and my students are like, is not valuing their own energy and wondering why they haven't got any energy. And it's so easy to get into that, isn't it? Why am I so exhausted? Well, where's your energy going? And you've named it. I love the way you've named it, energy accounting, and that you've thought about it, but also you really, really know yourself and you're really listening to your body, which is one of the things that I teach. And I love that, but I don't like hearing that it's so painful for you. That to me sounds really excruciating. It's really interesting that you describe it in terms of like fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, if you said to me, you can either choose a life with autism or without autism, for me, I would always choose autism. I fucking love being autistic. Like, it brings some of the hugest gifts of my life, and it makes my brain work in beautiful ways. However, there's a certain cost that comes to being so sensitively wired and processing so much more information, because autistic brains, it's like we're recording everything in 4K instead of standard definition. And so it's like our computer heats up while it's processing it. It's just like, fuck, that's a lot of information. So it's one of the biggest blessings of my life. And it's also something that I need to constantly monitor and keep working with. And in terms of like energy accounting, I remember talking to Hira Boga, who was, one of my mentors for a very long time, and I just adore her. And I said to her at one point, I'm just so exhausted. And she said, and I was like, and I don't understand why. Why am I so exhausted? Yeah. She said, Leonie, it's pretty simple. Like, you have been withdrawing from your energy bank account constantly and not putting any deposits in there. So at a certain point, you are going to overdraw your bank account. There's fucking nothing in there. Like, it is, you're in loan territory, mate. Like, and I was like, oh, so that's kind of part of that energy accounting puzzle as well, as checking in on my bank account of energy and working out, okay, how can I deposit more energy in there, and knowing what's going to put in that those deposits, and then being mindful of how much I'm going to take out as well. Like, I have to say no to some of my kids' school stuff because it's just going to be a withdrawal that I can't afford to pay for that week.
So when you say like your energy bank, what's the most nourishing? What are your like favorite banking of energy things for you?
Oh, so exciting. Alone time in the house by myself.
Oh, me too. That opening
the greatest
nobody's home thing.
Oh, special. So sacred.
Especially when you're not expecting it.
I know, it's the greatest. That's so like a lot of it's like solitude based. Every weekend I have solo mama retreats, which means I spend a couple of hours in bed and I'll either watch a movie or I'll do e-courses, I'll do art journaling, I'll write letters, whatever fills my well, I do that. And my kids are usually like playing Minecraft with my husband. And I don't care what they do as long as I get that time in, because I find if I don't have that dedicated time every single weekend, I kind of turn bitchy during the week. Having just like my little rituals. So I do Pilates, like a private Pilates class, just me and a Pilates instructor. And then I go to a cafe afterwards and I have my tea and I have my cake and I read a book. Fucking great. Love it. And very occasionally I actually need to see humans. I need to remember to have fun, which sometimes I forget because I am such a homebody and I love being at home. But I do need to actually go out and play with my friends as well, even though it's going to come at a bit of an autistic cost.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, I get kind of depressed and uninspired. So sometimes I need to like cop the cost of it in order to fill up on a different tank.
Do you do this thing? So I just actually went away for the weekend and saw a really good friend, and it was one of those weekends that was so easy because we get each other, both introverted. And she said to me, and I love this phrase, I can't remember where she got it from. She said, "You're not people."
Oh yeah, right. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you're not people. Which
yeah.
I can hang out with you because it's easy. And it was such a joy. It was just so easy.
Oh, that's really precious.
I'd never heard that before. I don't know where it came from, but I really like it. You're not people. You don't count.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't count as a person. You're somebody I can hang out with. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. I've got to ask you, I'm absolutely fascinated about what you love about being autistic, because I've never ever heard anybody say that.
Oh, what's not to fucking love? I love that I just can feel on the verge of ecstasy just from looking at leaves and from the light and from the beauty in this world. It's like rapture. in my brain. It just is so intoxicating. And so many times, you know, throughout my life, especially before diagnosis, people would say to me, what are you even on? Like, well, I'll have whatever drugs you're on. And the drug that I'm on is my brain. It's a fucking great brain. It's a happy brain. And my ability just to see so much beauty in this world and to feel it all as well, that sensitivity is such an enormous gift. It makes me that much more of a better creative and a writer and a human. And it makes me a better human because I can understand other people. And when I go through a fucking awful thing, I think, oh, on some level, this is really good because I'm actually going to understand other people now who go through this, and I'm going to be able to love them and be compassionate to them. And it's going to be such a blessing. And I'll be able to write about this, and other people are going to feel heard in that. What a fucking blessing. I love that it makes me think of the world in a different way, like in quite a logical way. So I have a really high level of self-confidence because I think it's irrational and illogical to second guess yourself because animals don't. And, you know, like the people who aren't second guessing themselves, they're the straight white guys. So therefore, all that self-confidence stuff is actually just about the patriarchy and white supremacy and like all that sort of shit. So I just think, nah, it's fucking invented. It's actually not how I'm meant to be. So I shan't. And the same with like beauty stuff. I decided when I was 14, I was like, oh, I need to be a woman now. So I like read this checklist in a teen magazine and I was like, okay, I'll try that out. And I had to put this fucking honey mask on my face and honey and oatmeal that I made, and then a deep conditioning that shaved my legs and all the fucking things. And it took 3 hours and it felt hot and sticky and disgusting.
I was going to say the whole honey, I hate being sticky, like horrible. I don't know how you
awful.
Yeah.
And so I washed it all, you know, off at the end, and I looked in the mirror, and amazingly, I still looked like myself, except I looked just redder and stickier. Yeah. And I thought, what was the fucking point of that 3 hours? I don't look any different. That hasn't changed shit about me. And I could have spent that 3 hours riding my horse or reading a book or making art. So I think what I'll do now is just that. I'll just skip out on this whole bullshit beauty routine, which is not going to make me look any different from what I am. And just go have a nice, happy fucking life.
I love that. So what you've actually done is taken that lovely logic and made it into just being you. Like there's no excuses. Like I'm just going to be me. I absolutely love it. Your being you, I think, is just I mean, you've done so many incredible things. It's just so ridiculous how amazing you are to me. But the being Leonie, that love for yourself, that would be my number one hit for you. That would be like the top of my list, because I think if we could all be ourselves, love ourselves, you know, like when my mentor said, be more Heidi. Okay. And she meant, you know, because the whole being visible online thing, you know, just be more Heidi. I'm like, you know, and it's quite, you know, I'm 53, the whole social media being online, it's like, really? But if I show up as myself, it's quite surprising. It's like a podcast. You just buy the mic and talk. Don't make a fuss, just talk. And then so many episodes later, thousands of downloads. Oh, that was exciting. Just like that. And so for me, that you being Leonie, I think of all the amazing things you do, that, yes.
And you know why? Like, why I do it? It's actually the most amount of fun.
Yeah.
And
I can see that. Your whole like creative stuff and, you know, just your art, you just like pour out creativity and joy and this huge heart. And yeah, it's amazing.
And to recognize like everyone has that inside them. And like we're all like fascinated by this whole idea of soulmates, right? But like I realized when I was really young that like the soulmate thing is it's it's a great if you can if you want somebody to spend your life with, amazing. However, life will happen, and I don't want to get like creepy here, but one of you gonna die.
Yeah.
And eventually the other, like, you'll die as well. And the person you're actually spending all your time with, the person that you can't escape from, the person you're with for all eternity is you.
Yeah.
So you're your own soulmate. If you can become your own best friend and delight in your own company, then you get to like spend eternity in ecstasy. What a fucking joy. What a fucking bliss. You get to hang out with the raddest person on the planet for all eternity. You get to completely enjoy each other's company for all eternity. What a fucking roar. This is great. So make best mates, because you're stuck with each other, you and yourself, for all eternity. And you can have a rip-roaring time with that. You can have a fucking great time with that. I know I'm going to.
You already are.
I am.
But most people don't. So most people are just getting stuck in their heads, and if you listen to let's face it, the self-talk, the negative self-talk that goes on, we are usually actually our own worst friend, aren't we? Like, you wouldn't speak to a close friend the way our mind speaks to ourselves, like, you're not good enough, you need to change this. Like, I talk about people having an invisible get better list. Where's your energy going? Where's your time going? Where's the pressure? It's in your invisible get better at list.
You're right. And guess what? Like, it seems to more afflict females than it does the dudes. So what can we surmise from that? It's the patriarchy. What do we say to the patriarchy? Smash it all down. I'm not going to live my life in a head that's been conditioned by the patriarchy. Fuck that nonsense. It can get fucked. It can go do something else, because it doesn't get to take ownership of me, my soul, my relationship with myself. How dare it? How very dare it think it can come between me and my own best friend, which is myself. So fucking rubbish.
When you get, or do you not now? Have you just told any voice in your head that goes, you need to be better? Are you able to just like shut that down? Or what do you do if you get like the loops of doom or anything like that going? They're just human mind crap. What do you do?
You're right. So first and foremost, like, if I hear like that, I don't think it's my voice. That's not my voice. And I immediately think, well, that's not very kind. And also, there's really good reasons why that was hard. Like, I tried my very best. I know that. I tried really hard in that. And it's okay. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And if I wasn't, then like I'd be dead. So I'm protective of myself. If I hear that voice, it's sort of like, if somebody picked on your best mate, you'd be like, excuse me.
Yeah.
No, we don't talk like that. That's not okay. And she's doing her very best. So I do that. However, truth be told, I don't really experience negative self-talk unless I'm in a major depressive cycle.
Right.
And then when it does come, I'm like, this sucks. I don't want it. Like, is this what all humans are going through? Because this really fucking sucks.
Yeah. And what do you do then?
I go to the doctor and I get some fucking medication.
Yeah.
Medication, counseling, therapy, and really good self-care to get myself back on track. So I think it's an absolutely critical part of self-care. I have no shame in the fact that I'll likely need medication for my beautiful little brain for the rest of my life. I come from a family where they live really long lives. They've got very strong bodies, but mentally, no, 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 it's not our strong suit. So I'm going to need, like, there's some chemical deficiencies there, and I'm going to need chemical support with that. And that's absolutely okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It just sounds to me like you know yourself really well and you've set everything up to have the best possible life.
I try, and I just want to know, like, I'm completely human as well. Like, sometimes I just find life so a little too much. Like, the volume's just up a little too loud for me to enjoy it. And I have kids, and I worry about them, and like them going through school. What the fuck? It just seems like a little too much sometimes. So I just do the very best I can in the situation and try and do as much self-care as I can so that I don't fall over the cliff.
Yeah. Right. Well, my next question is usually, what do you do? But we know what you do, but I really would like to know. I'd like to hear in your words how you describe your business and your work in the world.
Okay, so I have a few answers for this. I usually just say I talk shit on the internet as my job.
You talk magic.
I absolutely no. I talk
magic. I've listened to your podcast when you say you're talking shit, and I like it.
Thank you. Weirdly, one of the most popular episodes is just talking shit. I have no notes for it. Just talking shit.
Is that the one where you go through, and the one about so you were like, how can you get rid of more emails? That one.
Oh, I've got no. I don't know. I think I was talking about one of the project 10% to reduce emails.
Yeah, that project
was stellar.
It's brilliant.
Oh, thank you. I know, it was fucking awesome. I had the best time. I
took quite a few bits from there and went, right, reduce your work some more.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. And I also, whenever I'm in like a medical professional's office and they say, what do you do? I say, I'm a porn star on the internet, and I try and keep a straight face for as long as possible. Excellent. And I just watch them because they actually can't say shit. They can't say anything, and they just have to they say, oh, okay, really? And I go, no, I'm just fucking with you. No, I'm not a porn star. Good on you, doll, though, for thinking that I was one. That's real confidence boost. Cheers, doll. So that's honestly, those are my two answers. I don't have an elevator pitch. I just have fun.
Oh, come on. My listeners are going to want to know how, because I think some of my listeners are going to want to join your mailing list and know about things that you do. So I want you to tell them something that will make them want to hop onto your mailing list and give away some really nice things.
Yeah, I do. No, I do. I talk shit on the internet. You can sign up to get shit every week in your inbox. I make a lot of free shit.
You do.
I actually have a page on my website called Free Shit.
You do.
You can check that out if you want. If you thought this whole palaver was a bit of fun, you should probably head on over there. If you thought, what the fuck? Probably don't. Just go have a nice life.
You do some really, really nice e-courses, I have to say.
Oh, cheers. Yes, that is one of my very favorite things. So I teach, and people are always like, what's your niche? And I'm like, I don't have a niche. I just talk about whatever I'm excited about. So I teach courses about creating and selling e-courses, writing and selling books, selling more, how to develop more income streams and manage your money better. And I can't even remember the rest of them.
The money one.
Oh, Mark.
I remember that one.
Oh, yeah. It was good fun. And then
when are you going to do a live round of the book?
Oh, probably next year again. Yeah, well, I probably won't fit one in this year, but people can sign up at any time, and then they get all of the stuff, and then they get also free access to all future live rounds. It's a bit of a win-win-win all round.
It is.
And then I also, because I quit social media this year, I have a marketing without social media course as well, which has been stupidly popular.
I'm not surprised because I did an episode. One of my most popular episodes is Overwhelmed by Social Media. Anybody?
What a surprise. What a surprise. Anyone?
Fine. I'm still using it for work, but what I've done is hilarious. I'm such a child. Basically, I discovered that on my phone you can put the apps into a folder, right?
Right.
Yeah. I didn't know. It was doing it automatically. I was getting cross with it, and then I discovered I could control it. So I put it into a folder, which means that when you open the phone, you can't just click. You have to find which folder, and I can never remember which one it's in, which is really good. And then you click. And because of the slowing down, you don't get the dopamine hit.
Yep.
It's genius. Literally, most people would probably be cross because it's not fast enough. I'm like, brilliant. I can't find it. I can't be bothered anymore. It's too much hassle, which means that I only go in to purposely do it for work.
Yep.
And then it's within.
I did the same thing, except I would just delete the apps off. And then if I needed to post something, I would reinstall it just to post something, then delete it afterwards. Anything that you can do to stop your finger just going, wee.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Please tell me what's any top tip for dealing with overwhelm. But just like not getting completely crushed by it, or not trying to push yourself through it, or not trying to squeeze yourself into a life that just doesn't work because you think you shouldn't be overwhelmed.
Yeah. You know what, like, I'll give you the advice that my husband gave me. So when I had my first daughter, I was really not coping. She was maybe 6, 7, 8 months old. And he took me to a cafe. We juggled baby between us, and he was like, right, I've got a piece of paper here for both of us. And so I want you to write down on this piece of paper what's really important for you to do right now. And he did it at the same time. And of course, baby was just like fucking eating, putting everything in her mouth, just it's mayhem when you've got a baby. But we did it anyway. And I wrote a really long list, and the list was like, I wanted to be a really good mum. I wanted to be a very present partner to him. I needed to grow an organic garden so that I could, harvest all of our own vegetables and hand make every single meal. I wanted to be a committed vegetarian. I wanted to, be much more artistic. I needed to be better at being a sister and a daughter. I needed to create more like events. I needed to do this for my business. I needed to do that for my business. And it took, it was like a full scat page of writing. It just kept on going. And once I'd finished, Chris was like, is that all? And I was like, it's all I can think of for right now. There is a lot more I need to be doing though. And he's like, right. Okay. So this is my list. And his list was very simple. It was just be a good partner to Leonie, be a good dad, and be happy. And he was like, let's have a look at your list. This is the reason you're feeling overwhelmed, because this is all the things that you think you can, like that you should be doing. Yeah. And I want you to know it's impossible. I want you to know at this stage in your life, it is actually impossible for you to achieve all of these things. And he said to me, Leonie, like, you don't actually have a green thumb. You've never been interested in gardening. You just think that you need to be an organic gardener now that you're a mum and harvest everything yourself and cook everything yourself. That is not something you've ever been interested in. So how about we just buy our vegetables? Or even better yet, maybe we just buy some ready-made meals, like to get us through this point in time where you are lying on the floor crippled with overwhelm. And I was like, but and he said, no, you're actually driving yourself crazy. You're driving yourself crazy, and that's not helping this situation whatsoever. We need to look at what is actually doable for right now and how we can be gentler on you. So he went through that list, and he said to me, Leonie, the only thing I know about you is you want to be, a good partner to me. You want to be a good wife, and you want to be artistic. Like like creativity is the thing you've never been able to stop. So you've got that, and you've got your business. That's all that's all your priorities right now, is just to narrow down your focus and fuck off the rest of this stuff until you've got some more time left. And it was just one of those real kind of come to Jesus moments. And I just feel so grateful, because it really was like an overwhelm intervention. And you do have to recognize that you actually, like, especially when you're going through more challenging periods, you can't do everything. And even when you're going through a great period, you still can't do everything.
No, you can't do everything. And also you don't need to do everything. That's the thing. And it sounds actually like quite a bit of your list was a get better at list.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have people who they'll go through, I need to be a better partner, a better sister, a better daughter, a better dog owner. And it even goes down to, I need to be a better plant owner. And when you're getting into that, it's like, then you've lost it, right? It's like,
yeah, you're right.
I mean, yeah, we want to take care of our plants, but seriously, look after yourself first. It's just crazy.
Absolutely.
Leonie, it's been so amazing to talk to you.
Oh, bless you, Heidi. This has been such a joy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being you, and thank you for sharing your light with the world and being as Heidi as you can.
Can you tell people where they can find out about you?
Oh, sure. Well, I'm not on social media. The only place you can go is leoniedawson.com. I have my mailing list there. I send you free newsletters every week with free shit. I've got my free shit page, and then I have all my programs that you can check out as well.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my God. Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Overwhelm is Optional podcast. If it sounds like your kind of thing, then I invite you to go on over to heidimark.co.uk/the 1 minute mark and get hold of my free audio so that you can get started on your journey out of overwhelm to creating a life that works for you, instead of just working really damn hard trying to find a way to squish yourself in a life that isn't really working for you. So that's Heidi Mark with an E on the end, .co.uk/the 1 minute mark. Thank you for listening, and anytime you feel like subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting, it's so helpful. It finds other people find this podcast. Thank you so much for being here.